Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Yes, as you can see from this title, it says I have cancer, the aftermath. For those of you who don't know me, I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with a synovial cell sarcoma when I was 16 years old, and I was on chemotherapy for 2 years and also went through a round of radiation therapy. And I just felt that I should share this with my channel. I know I usually do, makeup and tutorials and sometimes reviews and sometimes things about hair, but I figure, I have this testimony that I have, like this wonderful thing that I've been able to able to overcome, which is wonderful. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to, kind of help those who are going through cancer right now, but just never knew how. And I was like, oh, well, I have my YouTube channel. Maybe I can talk about it on there, and who knows how many people this could reach. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of the background story. When I was, starting from 10, I used to always have problems with my joints, and I was diagnosed originally with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I do still have arthritis in some of my joints, and it can be very painful at times. But for me, when I was younger, the most crucial or most affected joint was my right elbow. I had lots of pain, and it was just stiffness and red, and like it hurt all the time. So, thankful for my very proactive parents who, ever since I started complaining about it, they bring me to the doctors and to the hospital, and nobody ever knew what was wrong with me. So, they gave me this diagnosis of juvenile rheumatoid arthritis and put me on steroids and painkillers and just lots of drugs that weren't helping what the problem was. The problem was always there. So finally, I had to have a surgery because nobody knew what it was, and the area just kept getting more inflamed. So they thought maybe it was inflammation, it was swelling. So they were going to go in and do, just to drain the area is what they said. But, yeah, so I had my surgery in December of that year. And I remember 2 weeks after being home from the hospital, they called us in. They were like, hey, can you come to the hospital now? It was kind of weird because it was after hours, and, the hospital clinics usually close at 5. So they asked us to come in, and me and my mom, we went in. And then, my doctor brought us back in the room, and he's like, you had your surgery, and we took some of your tissue samples, and the test came back, and it tested positive for a synovial cell sarcoma. So me at the time, I'm young, I'm like, what's a synovial cell sarcoma? And he was like, well, basically, it's bone cancer, and it's malignant. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And he was like, well, it means that it's spreading, and it can spread. And I was like, the first question I asked, you're 16, and I'm like, am I going to die? And he was just like, you might. Just frankly, just like that, he was like, you might. And he was like, we need to prepare for the inevitable. Because apparently I was in stage 4 of cancer. They thought that this tumor had been growing in my arm for about 5 years. By the time they got to it, it was about the size of a small grapefruit. Yeah. So it was kind of crazy, and they said the reason why I was having so much pain was because the tumor was growing inside of my bone, which is why for 5 years they couldn't find it, was because all the tests that they were doing were more for, outside of bones, like CAT scans, PET scans, things like that, bone density tests. So where was I? Yeah, so they found it, and I had to start chemo immediately. I did that for 2 years. I lost all my hair, my eyelashes, my eyebrows. It's like a hairless cat. So about 5 months into my chemotherapy regimen, the tumor had stopped growing, but it didn't go away. And so the next thing to do was to operate. So the choices were to either amputate my arm, do a fusion, or to do a joint replacement. I chose the joint replacement at the time, even though I was young, and when you're young, your parents really do have the right to choose what happens during surgery, but they really did stick to my wishes of giving me the joint replacement because at 16, nobody wants to walk around with one arm. No. So we did that, and I've been living with that for the last, 9, 10 years? Yeah. So I made this video really, in reality, just to share that piece with you all, and just to share the aftermath that, cancer is something that has affected me very much so. A few of my friends have passed away from it. And for me, I guess, it's, you go through life and you're just like, oh, wow, I beat cancer. And it's something that, it's just not fathomable sometimes. Like, I'm like, oh wow, I beat this thing, and the people who were around me who had it as well weren't necessarily able to overcome it. And I always wonder, like, my life doesn't, oh, I can't mess up my makeup, I just did this. My life doesn't always, seem to go out the way it's planned, but I'm just like, I've survived, and I'm like, God has to have something awesome for me in store, because it's just like, why would I go through so much pain, so much suffering, literally be on my deathbed. I can turn this into a series and tell you all the entire story, because it will take a long time, but, literally be on my deathbed, but yet to survive and to come back and to, to graduate high school on time. Even though I was on chemotherapy, I was homeschooled, because I was like, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm going to beat it. Homeschooled, and then I went to college, and I graduated from the Ohio State University, from a wonderful, prestigious college, which was a trial in itself, because there were days where I just wanted to quit. And now it's like, I'm an adult, and I work, and I have a job, and I moved away from my family. Like, I live over 1,000 miles away from anybody who I know, who I grew up with. But I'm doing it, and I'm living my life, and it's awesome. Like, not many people can say, well, maybe they can, but not many people who I know who have had, or I've been told who have had a synovial cell sarcoma have survived. It's a very, very, very rare form of bone cancer, and it's very hard to, to beat. And the only way I could have overcome that was, through God, through my faith, through my family, through prayer. Like, I don't think y'all understand how many prayer meetings they had for me at my house, at church, at the hospital, wherever it was. And it's just so many people just, enveloped me in love. And I was just like, it's a wonderful thing. Like, when you see me, you can't, like, you can't tell that I've had cancer. Like, I have a head full of hair, I'm speaking, I'm walking, I'm functioning. Like, I'm no longer confined to a bed or in an isolation unit where people can't be around me, because I don't have an immune system to tolerate that. Like, yes, I have scars. Yes, I have, like, fake body parts. I have a joint replacement. I don't have my own elbow anymore. I have my, my porticast scars, my surgery scars. I've had 26 operations. 26 operations. And when I say operations, I mean, like, operations, like, put you under anesthesia, intubate you, like, your life is in somebody else's hands operations. But every time, by the grace of God, I've come back from those. And I just wanted to share that, like, sometimes you think your life isn't going anywhere, or you're like, man, like, this sucks. And it's just like, it could always be worse. And for me, I sometimes, I get in these little ruts, and I'm just like, oh, my life sucks. And I'm just like, Joanne, look where you came from, and look where you are. And, like, as humans, it's very, very hard to put those things into perspective, because we're in the here and we're in the now. But I was just like, man, you know what, let me make this video, and let me just share with people a little tidbit of, a little thing about me. I will talk more about it. I can talk more about my surgeries. I can show you all my surgical scars. I actually have pictures from some of my surgeries of the inside of my bones, or the inside of my metal, as I like to call it. But I just wanted to share that cancer is something that affects a lot of people, and it takes a lot of lives, but there are many people who have survived it. And me sitting here today as I've been in remission for five years, but, just remembering that things do get better, life gets better, things happen, and, there are things that I will never be able to do because, like, of my surgeries and things that they've caused to happen, and long-term things. But I'll get more into that in another video. I just wanted to share this quick tidbit with you all. Thank you all for watching. You can leave a comment below, subscribe up above. If you have any questions, don't be scared to ask. Leave me a note, leave me a message. And sorry for the waterworks, but it's still a touchy subject this many years later. Some days I can talk about it, some days I can't. But thank you guys. Bye.